So anyway, I'll start the introduction. My name is Keith.
We love you!
My name's Alicia.
Red off Aiden Holly the third.
Shane.
Suzanne.
QZ.
Gloria.
Kevin. Mel. Clay.
Sandy.
Gail. Paul.
Jorge.
Elise.
Michael.
Rita. Pamela.
Diane. Yeah.
And your name is
Laura.
Laura?
All right, and Wes.
So one of the reasons that we brought the meeting together was a lot of people were, traumatized by the Benchlands eviction. There were some really good aspects of what we tried to do surrounding that, and then there was, issues that didn't work out. And so we wanted to just a brief thing, like what do each person think is good about how the union interacted with the Benchlands. I mean, we all know that the Benchlands eviction sucked. That part, I think we all agree on. But just from your point of view, because I think some people, there was some positive things about our organizing, and then there was a defeat in that people were evicted. It was so devastating to watch that after the second phase, I couldn't even go down there and be involved. Because I have such a bad back, I can't lift anything, and it was just heartbreaking. But I do think during the lead up to it, our meetings in the here and in the Benchlands, and just our overall support of the Benchlands and interaction, it became a really solid, nice community and there was, and with little resources, there was a lot of effort to make it as least painful and logistically successful as possible.
Could we also just say if we are from the Benchlands, if you were at the Benchlands, did you mention that?
Yeah, mention that you're from the Benchlands and.
That's what I was gonna ask, if anybody could chime in about like where they went and like what happened to them.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for over 20 years, in my 48 years, and I've been at tons of these meetings. I quit going to them because fortunately in this group I can feel like nobody's lining their pockets on the homeless. That was the main reason why I leave these meetings. We're sitting under a 200-year-old problem, and we want it fixed like a microwave. We want a 1-hour meeting. We don't want to find out who's handling the problems in the streets. And my personal job, I went to go feed 2 people last night that were freezing cold and hungry, but because they couldn't pause long enough or because of their pride, they went on hungry and unhelped and unloved. And if I can't spend an hour of my day in and day out, this is what I do.
That's a minute.
And if
I believe the reason why we're doing it in minute is because we only have this room for so long, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's such a time limit, it's not on that.
Yeah, it's not to be rude.
I don't think it's rudeness, it's just, I think there's deeper problems to all of these problems that are not gonna get fixed like popcorn.
And it's about the Benchlands and what happened. If you're you observed it, you were kicked out of the Benchlands, where did you go? So anything about the Benchlands is what we're trying to get to.
Shane?
Yep.
Yeah, my name's Shane, and I've never stayed at the Benchlands, but like she said, I know people there, so I was always in and out of there. But I did notice, like one day I was going, and they were just like tossing shit away, like this chick yelling about like, don't touch my things, you know what I mean? Don't just, they were just tossing them in the garbage can, like it was like okay and taking it, that's really bad to do to people, you know what I mean? It's traumatizing, it's being your life, your house thrown away, I thought that was pretty foul,
And it didn't seem like anybody did anything when that happened to those people. Like they came in with a bulldozer one time and wiped out half of a person's yard and like took their stuff, whatever they got, they threw it away. And they didn't give them any warning except for like maybe a day before. They said you gotta clean up your spot, but they didn't. They came in with a bulldozer and just wiped out half their camps. And nobody did anything about it. And I really think something should have been done.
Yeah. Anybody
Civil
else?
rights.
Yeah, I got arrested like on the 3rd phase that they were moving, I kind of like been seeing the cops, they were like totally fucking, bullies. Like taunting us, you know, like kind of talking shit, you know, like, and I talk shit back to them. You know, like the week before they started the evictions, I got under his skin. Like, you've been bugging me so long that I got under his skin, and he wanted to arrest me, and I told him for what? Because I called him a punk bitch.
That's not
And
arresting.
he said, oh, you want to get arrested? I'm like, for what? He's like, you know you're on camera? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm like, what are you gonna do about it, punk bitch? And he went to grab me again, right? And when he went to grab me, I was just like, you're on camera. And he was like, and stopped, and looked so upset, you know, like I walk away from that. But then I'm sitting on my tent, right? The day they came to move my section, I was like, where do I go? Like, where do you guys want me to go? Like, the shelter, like, it's not for me.
That's a minute.
So this meeting is specifically held because I didn't want to wait till after the holidays, okay? Because the holidays have a way of helping a lot of people to feel really depressed, even though they're very festive, wonderful times for many people. And since the Benchlands was attacked and dispersed, I wanted to make sure that we were able to come together before the holidays really kicked in. We will have meetings hopefully after the holidays, depending on what you all want. The 2 points of the discussion, what we really want to spend our time on is this debrief on the Benchlands, exactly what's happening, what people feel, what people think. We can decide to go longer if we really want to go longer, but I just want to get us moving on this. The debrief on the Benchlands, what was good, what was bad, especially how the union played a role in it or did not. And then the second big part that I want to spend a lot of time on today, and I hope you're into it, is talking about what is a homeless union? What would it look like here in Santa Cruz? What do we have? What do we need? How can we do it? I have some printouts to help us with some words we already know, but for some reason I felt compelled to print out words just to trigger our thing. So that's
I thought we were caught off guard in a couple of respects. Clearly, the late arrival of law enforcement during the first day was a surprise, and their late arrival ongoing throughout was surprising, and that kind of put us back on our heels. And we were totally unprepared for what happened at Blue during the first section, where he wasn't even in the section that was being relocated, and this deputy from Sacramento chopped down his tent poles and dropped the whole tent on his head and broke his nose or whatever. And we didn't anticipate any kind of behavior like that, and so we didn't really have a response for it. I mean, we got a deposition later, but I mean, it seemed like we should have been better prepared to deal with outrageous acts by law
It
enforcement.
actually happened to me one time.
you
Sorry.
Did they got Jenna got it?
We got a new tent.
Okay, my turn.
Dreda?
Okay, I stayed in the Benchlands, and my friend did, and we helped Food Not Bombs deliver food there quite a bit for a lot of the people down there. And I now currently have a vehicle and I'm able to help the homeless, but the problem is the police in this town is corrupt. We need to find out where the money went. We need to get someone on the books, and no one wants to do it.
Thank you.
Where did all the money go?
Yeah, they're under investigation.
That's, yeah, I still want to know, where is the money? That's all I really have to say. They stole the money and put it in their pockets, and we get nothing. That's what I got to say.
What could they have spent the money on that would have helped us?
Yeah, I don't know. Housing, how about housing? They got $12 million. How about housing? Yeah.
They just got another $2 million. What was that for?
What is that for? More police pocket?
Yeah, they did hire 30 new cops. They said that was part of the money where it went.
Drew is next.
Yeah, I know we all have a lot of problems, and everyone has having a lot of problems, especially lately.
Oh, sorry.
We don't have to make the cops' jobs easier, but it is a tough job. If we made it a little less tough for them, I mean, the problem is when we're intense and when we're really emotional, we don't always stop to think about how we're reacting or how we're acting in a situation. We just act or react. But if we take into account that almost everyone we talk to, drug dealers to cops to anybody, they're people too. And if we can get on a level where we can relate to them without animosity and anger, you know, or act out of fear or something, but with just the general communication that like what's good for one is good for all, we'll go a lot further. And so I think we should really try when we're talking, you know, I mean, it's okay to have a discussion and sometimes even an argument, but like a lot of people debate. Now, a debate, like, the debates on the radios and TV and stuff is just an argument. It's screaming louder and louder, you're wrong, you're wrong.
And we get nothing.
What we should do is make a quick point, give the person a chance to rebut, and then make a case, you know, a point. And if we treat all the people like the golden rule, like we'd like to be treated, well, that doesn't always work.
I'm
because
dying.
Dying, I say dying because mine's dying, but I feel like I'm dying right now because, I don't have nothing. Everything I have is, has been, just disappeared and, I've been wearing these pants and these jackets for like 2 weeks straight, washing them when I can. I'm sick right now from the weather last night, and head to toe I have one issue after the next, and I can't do that now, okay, it's pretty cold. My hands are fucking chappy, broken.
Yeah.
Did you have everything that you needed at Benchlands? Did they take away from you?
About the Benchlands, I mean, they had it made there for a minute, and they were doing all right, and it looked like a pretty good get up. But yeah, but where they were gonna go was what? Across the street, a little levee, just to hang out and be with each other more, you mean?
Yeah.
And start fires on the wall.
The thing that I really wanna see is for people living outside to have more, to be more empowered when it comes to dealing with the police and their stuff being stolen and their tents being moved and bulldozed, and just to know what rights are being, you know, the basic gist of the rights that are being violated. So this is just a beginning of what I want to put together, this empowerment kit. But this is just a card that you can hand to the police if you want to talk to them and want to just exercise your rights. And I would like permission of you guys if I can put the Union of the Homeless, and the bigger ones are better if you're actually living outside, so anyone that has a little one and wants a big one, maybe you guys can trade. But I was thinking on the back can be, I'm sorry, I don't have enough for everybody.
Let me just get a picture of it.
Alright, Lori, you can
Can I get one,
continue
because I'm sleeping in my vehicle.
you can continue to pass those out. Thank you
So
very
Mike-
much. I put it here, and now Mike is up.
Can I
is
just
that
make-
my minute?
A quick recommendation that next time you print this, you do the backside in Spanish.
But there's a lot of stuff that I want, like, to talk to Commander X about, a little thing that shows how you can live stream.
I don't know, if you probably, most of you probably don't know me, but I've kind of led the Ross encampment thing.
Okay.
I went down to the city during the city council meetings, and I'd get up and say whatever. But, you know, I've come to learn that in a community like this, money's gonna talk. And this is basically what's going on, is the people are retiring from Silicon Valley and they want to be here. But they don't want people who are from here, just unfortunately don't have homes, they don't want them here. I explained this the last time when we had the meeting and the TV, how, you know, there's bad apples in every tree. And I dealt with people stealing from me when I was at Ross Camp. And what people don't understand is that that's gonna happen regardless. What we gotta do is get everybody who is concerned about this and get them here and get everybody together. 'Cause this is not enough people.
At the minute.
You gotta have everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to start telling people, homeless people, hey, come to the meetings. And I'm gonna start doing that.
I did that on
First
my
thing,
own.
let me know when the next meeting is, and I'm gonna make
We are
a
going
special
to do
trip.
that, by the
Beautiful,
way,
Mark.
thank you, Nina.
My name is Pamela.
Pamela.
In March, I was homeless, first time, and had nowhere to go, so March 11th, I wandered a couple 7-Elevens. I I'm 68 and a half years old right now. And I ended up at the Benchlands and I was beaten up twice, attacked with a chainsaw once. A girl was found dead in a tent a few feet from me that was dead 3 days. They found her under a cardboard box. And I was in front of the courthouse. I was then wondered because I had 2 tents destroyed. And HP wouldn't let me there. I went to the secret garden, was thrown out of there because there is a problem with the funding. There is a problem with the whole system. I'm still homeless. The police know where I am. It's going to be 9 months on 12/11. I'm 68 and a half years old. I've owned businesses and it happens. I don't know what else to tell you. There's a lot more to say. There's a meeting on the 14th or 15th of this month, not this Friday, but next Friday, where a group of people are suing the police department, so.
Okay, Dreda, you're up.
Well, the one thing I was really trying to point out is that they don't want to do an investigation of where the money went because judges and people that run this town will be criminals just like us on the street. And oh my God, they'll go to jail. So that's why they're not doing any investigation because they don't want judges and DAs and people like that in the real estate industry going to jail. No.
Paul?
Yeah, my name's Paul, and I just, I wasn't really there, living there, or really doing much to help. But I just wanted to say that, as miserable, as horrible as that whole thing was, nobody got shot, okay? And that's significant. A gun was recovered. I was there when a pistol was recovered, okay? And when I was walking over the footbridge, I saw somebody, waving a rifle. And so, to their credit, to all those residents' credit, they didn't act out in a way that was going to give the rest of the community more ammunition to come down on them like a sledgehammer. So yeah, it was miserable, it was horrible, and there's a silver lining that it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
That's pretty funny you said that. I got shot twice there with BB guns. But they look like, that one of them was in there. I popped it out
Okay, we're doing really well. Let me emphasize, this particular meeting was put together by Keith and I. However, in this next section we're going to have right now, we're going to talk about, we want to have everybody involved in the planning. That is, anybody who wants to show up for the meetings, we're calling them right now the organizing committee. And now we're going to get into this next second session. So the section tonight, I just want somebody to maybe take pictures of this. Does anybody want to throw up really super quick as we wrap this up? Anything good about the Benchlands? Hi, Eagle. Anything good about the Benchlands? I'll call them myself if nobody else is going to say that. Suzanne.
I gotta give them props. They actually gave people a chance to be somewhere for a long enough amount of time that they really felt like that was home, which wasn't ever done in this community for a long time. People are always feeling like they were being chased around from spot to spot. And they've done that to us for years. And this was actually a time when I saw people relax and actually some people got their lives together. And then there was other people that got damaged by the garbage and the other problems. But there's some good things that definitely came out from that. I would have liked to have seen them keep that garden though, that was planted there.
You want to be on
That would have been cool.
Part of the beginning of that was a good 40 people that just made a human chain and blocked the police from even coming in, the fences being put out, all that community energy that we were hoping to see this round of the 10 sections, but that was the people power. And then we got an injunction a couple days later, and that's
The next day.
the court
It gave
thing.
just enough time to draw it up.
All right.
So that's the power of the people right there.
Yeah, and
But they
could we
took that
just
power
have a
away.
shout out for Alicia Cole, the president of the Homeless Union, who did a lot of the legal work on that?
I'm just grateful to hear, since I'm next, that good things came out of it and that some people were able to get their lives together. Part of, sometimes when you make decisions like that, it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and you never really know which way it's gonna go. Are you helping people or are you hurting people? It's sad when you hear somebody died there. It's sad when you hear someone was attacked there. But it's also good when you hear that people got their lives together, and were able to feel like they had a sense of home for a while. You know, that also means a lot. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of like a weight, which way is it going? But that's really good to hear. When you have a lot of people together in one place, one benefit to that is you can bring resources to them instead of looking for them all over the place. You could really drive a lot of donations to that one location, a lot of services and a lot of assistance. We're not able to do that with people all over the place, and the city knows that.
I felt we didn't have an answer for the city's magic math. We didn't have an answer for them using outdoor campsites as shelter bed counts and all those other kinds of things.
Gloria and I were meeting, and that's Gloria right there in the blue hat. And my name is Elise, E-L-I-S-E. And we were talking about this meeting and what is a homeless union. We were talking about, as Gloria has mentioned many times, this Gloria, there's two Glorias who are sitting really close together there, but she was saying, I want people to get their basic needs met. I want that to happen right now. People outside in the rain, right now, right now, right now. She's, as we all, I think, couldn't relate, feel like we want this done. So the Santa Cruz Union of the Homeless is about bringing homeless people together to build power. What is power? Politics, where all the decisions are made that shape our community. Unless it's like you're an anarchist and like Keith and you start Food Not Bombs and then we shape our own community. Politics is about who decides. Who decides? Who decides where we get to sleep? Who decides if we get to eat? We are about community organizing, okay? The Homeless Union is about a community, theoretically, of homeless people. And so, obviously, anybody could be homeless. People can be homeless for long periods of time, short periods of time. As you all know this, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But the point is, we're not a labor union. We're not at a workplace, okay? So, I know I'm saying a lot of stuff that's pretty darn obvious, but that's where I want to start today. I want to start with what seems simple but might be right in front of our face. So I have some printouts. They were free at the library on community organizing. I'm just going to read this. I don't have my glasses on. Community organizing, method of engaging and empowering people with the purpose of increasing the influence of groups historically underrepresented in politics and decision-making that affect their lives. So what we've thrown up is a list about the Benchlands. Some of this stuff was really great that happened. People had a place to live. People had a place to chill out. People had a place to even pass away in a tent instead of out there on the curb. I mean, in a sense that, okay, so there's so many things that happened. It was a place where people could bring stuff and feed people. So, and then there's a lot of bad stuff that happened. So here's a printout on community organizing. The words I want people to think of, and my time is almost up, if you will, is how can we build community amongst each other, and how can we get to make our own decisions or influence those who think they're deciding for us and let them know what we want for us. And so this is community organizing. 1 second, Fred. The other thing I want to say is that the union, there's two definitions here, okay? Again, really basic, really simple. What is a union? An act or instance of uniting or joining two or more things into one, such as the formation of a single political unit from two or more separate and independent units. Combination junction, something that is made one, something formed by a combining or coalition of parts or members, such as a confederation of independent individuals, such as nations. Why am I belaboring this point? Because we can't be a union if we don't have people to come together.
Right.
And we need all of us. We need more of us. We need to build our power so that City Hall or the police are not going to catch us off guard. They're not going to throw these numbers mumbo jumbo and we have no voice to come back and say, actually we did the research on that. Here's credible numbers. Yours seem to maybe not be credible. Whatever we want to do, and we can decide that. So again, rather obvious, The second definition of community is a social unit with commonalities such as a place, norms, religion, values, customs, or identity. Communities may share a sense of place, situated, community, geographic, blah, 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 blah. So, how can we build community? If we build a union that's strong, that has power, that can really have a voice, that decides for us what we want, we need to build community because it's a community union. So another really obvious page, and I also printed out, at the time I couldn't do too many, the National Union of the Homeless. Alicia Cole has a lot of information about that. Wes is very knowledgeable. Many of you might also be, but here's a couple, not many printouts. So the 4 parts that we want to propose to everybody to build this union, and we're going to start in mid-January, we can decide the date, is 1, weekly meetings. When and where. Keith really lobbied for weekly meetings. 2, set up an organizing committee to set the agenda for the meetings. So the organizing committee will meet a day or 2 or 3. Hi, everyone is welcome to the agenda planning meeting. We have 3 numbers and 3 emails at the bottom we're going to start with. We want input. We want everybody to get involved in this, and we'll figure out the structure as we go. So the third thing that we're proposing to build the homeless union is set the next meeting for mid-January, which is going to be hopefully in the week between Tuesday, January 17th, and like the next Sunday. Sometime in that week for Keith and I would be ideal, but we can talk about it. And the fourth thing is political education. We want to build a homeless union. I want to build this really speaking for myself, and this is where we'll get to the discussion.
I feel like we should use the word grow instead of build, because we've been doing this now for over 4 years.
Thank you, thank you, Alicia.
Great way to go.
Grow is the better word. And honestly, when you came into the picture, I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I'm tired now though, so I don't
Alicia was like the person that like changed everything in the city of Santa Cruz. So thank you, Alicia. And yeah, grow is a much better word than build. And so just this fourth thing, political education. 10 or 15 minutes. These aren't going to be super long workshops. If we like what we're learning, we can always decide to have somebody talk longer at a different meeting or to set up a workshop or something like that. But really educating ourselves, and this is the key that I wanted to say, and I'll end on this. We want to discuss these 4 points. It's on everybody's agenda after I shut up, which is just about to happen. I want a democratic union. I have been involved in a lot of unions that are not democratic, and in my opinion, they pretty much, not good. And the workers forget, wait a minute, this is our union, we can pick out these people and have a different union. So we've got a good start to our union. It gave us the Benchlands. That injunction was a part of the homeless union. Alicia Cole, Keith, Robert, all these people. Gail, others were coming to court, and so many people I could name here. We've got a good start. We need to build numbers. We need to build a strong union. But I want it to be democratic. And so I'm hoping in this section that we're now about to discuss, should I?
I'm Republican.
Republicans are not necessarily undemocratic, but
Yeah.
the union is what we shape it to be. That's what I want everybody to remember. A union is a potential for creativity, for amazing interaction. We've already talked about the definition of a union. If somebody wants it, these sheets are up here. I have the definition page with union and community. I have the community organizing page.
Okay, one.
So there we are, and I just want to say, now we're going to ask you to discuss these 4 proposals. And I'm still taking stock unless somebody else wants to do it.
Well, can we
Suzanne.
refer to the Benchlands as a Benchlands project so that they know that at least we felt like there was some positive in it, you know, and a project meaning more, you know, in the future, hopefully other things we can do, you know, like that are similar, you know, new project. Because it really was a project, they were testing it out, but maybe something that's not so in the public's eye, like, you know, that we're just testing out this program. We don't really need all this extra output from the community because we gotta get out the kinks first. And instead, they put us right on the front lines and made it look like we didn't, that it wasn't gonna work like that. But it could work like that. There was a lot of good things that could have worked. But because it was just in the, the beginning start position, the community probably saw a lot of bad that they shouldn't have had to. Everybody took it away from the community, but they put us right out there. So, yeah, hopefully we can do that.
There is a sad thing about the Benchlands, and you're all stuck in a bad spot, in a bad situation, so every other person around you has fentanyl and meth. So unfortunately, a lot of people did that and people died from that. And that really made the whole Benchlands, let's say, not look like it had a halo.
True.
Do you get my point?
There you go.
It made it look bad.
But it was the first time it was ever done in this community, so even if it did look bad, that's what it's gonna look like when you're figuring out how to do it right.
I'm gonna second that motion. No dignity and respect for yourself. You are not gonna receive it from anyone else.
That's right.
It's that simple.
So, these 4 suggested proposals, so on the weekly meetings, one of the ideas that was floated was to get back to having a weekly meeting, possibly, or every other week, but I thought maybe weekly would be easier for people to remember.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised that we had this many people at 5 o'clock, because I thought if you were living outside, you would be desperate to find a way to get it inside.
I think it's really important to have consistency and meeting minutes. Get them out quick after the meeting to everybody, so that everybody who wasn't there can be included. Weekly meetings are every week. No skipping. No skipping months.
For weekly meetings,
Yeah.
when and where,
Okay.
maybe a public location to make a public announcement that you're forming a union. I know that's civil disobedience and civil, but it works. Get enough respectable people to show up in a public place at the same time and patronize the place just like every other public person. And they can't kick you out as long as everyone acts accordingly and do it in a public place. That way other rich people and other people that are creating the havoc can witness it. So possibly a public meeting place, coffee house, or something of the such.
So my proposal would be that once a week is too much. We never have that much to talk about, that we do it every other week. We hold it right here in this room so that we can also have food. We choose the day right now. I think this day seems to work for everybody, every other Wednesday. We could discuss a different day if that doesn't work. Regarding the public place, it becomes a distraction because we have a lot of people that are hateful and they disrupt our meetings if we have them in public places.
Absolutely.
I guess I got another proposal, just try to meet people in any of these communities where people are already at. That way it's their home, that we're kind of going to, and more people are likely to show up who are directly impacted if you go to their neighborhood.
It would also help to have something ahead of time to know what they're gonna talk about, otherwise people are kind of caught off guard. Whereas if they knew ahead of time that they were gonna talk about this next week, then they would have everything they wanted to say.
Yeah, like have an
in
agenda
their
like
mind,
that.
Agendas and minutes.
Then the minute wouldn't feel like,
Agendas and minutes.
wait.
And if it was weekly, people would be more there.
I may have missed some parts there, but decide the agenda in advance,
And minutes, somebody
Agendas
said.
and minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, minutes are good.
Okay, Keith?
Yeah, now, I'm a little, I think we may end up with a lot of stuff to meet about every week if we are really organized as a group. And the other thing is that I think it's just so hard for when it's like every other, it's just like city council meetings. We still don't really go, is it this week or is it 2 weeks from now, that kind of stuff. Whereas if it's just every Wednesday at 5 here, then you just know.
Plus people know more what's going on.
And then I'm hoping that it becomes such, that it's such a large, there'll be a lot to do, and so that's why I think it should be every week I don't need more time to go to more meetings and stuff. I just think logistically
Okay, thank you, Keith. Lauren?
Before I had a home, it was very difficult to coordinate, and so that's all I could keep in my head would be Wednesdays. I wouldn't remember which Wednesday to go to, and I might not necessarily want to get out and go somewhere that I'm not sure if they're meeting that day or not. So I would also, I think, agree with every week, but I also empathize with what you're saying. I think that especially people who are kind of leading the organizational piece of this get tired.
Yeah.
I'm burnt out from.
Yeah, burnt out. And so maybe there could be, a way to kind of spread, like not have to have everybody come every week, but just have someone be there every week with food. Because the other thing that's really beneficial is just people being able to get together and coordinate with each other if they know they're going to be at the same place at the same time. So even if there's not a lot on the agenda, people might have their own agenda to meet and hook up with whatever they're trying to organize. So.
I was just gonna include maybe even where Food Not Bombs is every Wednesday, then that way it's like wherever Food Not Bombs is, and plus all that energy
There's food.
can be combined.
And there's homeless.
You're saying have it at Food Not Bombs?
Yeah, we should advertise it.
The clock tower or wherever? Food
Right,
Not Bombs?
wherever they go,
Just thinking
yeah.
that.
Suzanne?
Don't forget to put him on.
I was thinking that maybe every week, maybe not to have the agenda of meetings, but like maybe every other week with those. And maybe then on the in-between weeks, we could actually have people that want to come in and donate their time and actually help you guys get the stuff ready you need for those things. Like the flyers printed or whatever, whoever wants to put in more time can come on those days and actually put in work. I mean, that would be helpful, and I know you guys get tired, so it's a place for people to actually be able to give their time.
I'm going to call on myself.
2 minutes.
I have been investigating homelessness. I've been homeless. I've been a part of shelters. I have camped outside, the whole 9 yards. I think we have so many issues that we need to have an organized body who is an advocate and supporting the homeless. I'm not talking personally. I am not talking about a mutual aid group. What I want to see is a group that grows for political power. Do we want also to be able to maybe fundraise and make money, get money? I've been a fundraiser. I've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in small contributions for many campaigns and groups. I've trained hundreds of people to do that. So I can tell you right now, we could definitely raise money for the homeless if we go out and start doing that door to door. We can train people how to do it. It's so many organizations out there in the world that are in Congress and this and that, they have all these canvassers going out and raising money for them. So let me just say, we have so many issues to work on that I don't consider that an issue. We could meet weekly and we're still not going to make all the issues. But I also want to add, I don't feel that we should guilt trip people or apply pressure for people to go to meetings. My theory is, if you want to be involved, show up, great. Help us do the work. Everybody here practically is a fine example of that. By the way, every single person here that I know has shown up and shouldered the work. That's what has kept this community going. So
I can't exactly remember what you said, but you said having a voice for to build political power. You said an organization or a group or something like what about the Homeless Garden Project that you said? You know what I mean? They are big advocates for homeless rights, and that's a good place you could hold the meetings if they were to allow. And then they also fundraise, and they could even help. They hold a lot of their when they have the trainees. A lot of their trainees have to go through something at the end of the year where they get up and they say how the Homeless Garden Project has affected them and in what ways, and there's some progress. You get to see that, you know what I mean? And it's the same kind of thing you guys are fighting for here is getting done there.
I think we should agree that that we do it on Wednesdays here at 5. Doing it at Food Not Bombs was a disaster because the whole time you have people walking in and asking questions.
you've already spoken too, so let's wrap it so we can take a vote. We're going to take a vote.
So the vote.
I second that. All in favor?
Of what? Oh, yeah.
Right here,
Meetings
Wednesdays
here
at
every
5.
Wednesday at 5. Done.
All right, we got that done. The second part is the organizing committee. There's not much to say. The organizing committee is open. I know it's stressful, but I don't want to just have a ton of stress. The organizing committee is open. Any person who has it in their heart to help homeless people survive, to build political power for homeless people, etc., you are more than welcome to come to the organizing committee meetings. They're in process, we're shaping them, we're developing them. They're gonna be a couple days or a day or two before the weekly meeting. So there's not much to say about that, in as much as it's about, just a second, Laura, I'll put you in. It's about who shows up and who's willing, please, who's willing to show up and contribute.
Well, it's already slightly not democratic. I'm just gonna interrupt here, because I have been doing this for 4 years as the president.
Okay.
I was not aware of a secondary group and a organizing committee separate from the homeless union. I kinda have a problem with that.
It
I
is
think
the
it should
homeless
be
union.
one
It is-
meeting.
It is the homeless union. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying you
One
wanted.
meeting, one
meeting.
group.
I second that.
Okay, that's a good point. Keith?
Yeah, so essentially what the idea was is to be able to publish an agenda in advance of the meeting so that we knew what the agenda was, so, which would make it more democratic. That was what the proposal was.
Oh,
Rather than just arriving to your meeting and not knowing what you're gonna do at the meeting.
It's called organizing.
So that was why, so that was the suggestion.
Wait,
was-
Alicia, this is important that you're here for this, because Keith is.
No, I know.
Okay,
Yeah, I have
did
a
you hear what
question.
he said?
Yeah, so it's not like, so there'd be a couple of people,
You should
it
be
would
on
probably be
the staff.
you. We
Sorry.
might be done on the phone, not in person, but it would be a couple of days before, and then we would email each other like a proposed agenda that would look sort of like that. We say, no, that's not of interest, no, let's do it like that. So just it's like a
So
get,
we're gonna keep our current roles.
set the
It's not an
agenda.
organizing committee.
well, it's just it's a
Please don't
basically,
get hung up on that, because we decided that we were like, should we call it a council, should we
yeah,
call
or
it
it
a
could be
group,
an
should we call it,
agenda, agenda planning.
we can rename it.
Yeah.
For voting.
Yeah, just to create the agenda, that was what that was about.
Yeah.
I just don't want people to think that there's another group that's meeting without them or making decisions
sounds
without
weird.
them.
Yeah, it was-
I just said,
subcommittee to
okay, but
create the agenda.
I would like to reply, I just said several times, the organizing committee is totally open. Anybody who wants to be a part of the organizing committee.
It sounds like the idea is not to actually meet, but have an email exchange about what is going
Yeah.
to be on the agenda, which would be, but my question is, would that be people that are, that we just signed like all the, how do we get on that list so that if we have a suggestion, we're able to send in an
Can we get
email?
the emails?
Keith, you're doing a direct response to Laura?
Yeah, so on the bottom, we had proposed agenda planning contacts. So you would email or call us if you had an idea, all three of the individuals or one of the individuals. So you would call Alicia and say, the thing is, we really should do an audit. We'd like to have the government audit on next week's agenda. Would you put that on? And then whoever has agreed to type up the agenda like this will go, oh yeah, okay, so we want to have the audit as part of the agenda. And then somebody would spend some time doing the 5 o'clock, the 5:10, blah, 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 right? And then we try to keep it like organized in that way. So this purpose is, when you arrive here, you're gonna get a piece of paper that looks like this, you're gonna get it in advance, like as was suggested, and so that everybody would know what the issue was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
so-
really, it's not really that you're getting on the
Time
agenda
keep-
so much as that you're just, if you have an idea that you want on the agenda, you would call.
You would call or email these people
Okay.
in advance, like a couple of days before the meeting, so that we would then be able to put it in the agenda.
Contact the agenda.
And it isn't just by email, I just wanna say
Could be
right
by
now,
phone or person.
we,
Maybe on the bulletin board, we have a big sign that says, your agenda ID is here.
Oh.
And you just keep posting them all through the week, so that, and then
It's easier.
on, we always know that 24 hours before the meeting, that somebody's gonna type up the agenda. And then also people can know that they wanna call one of the three of us or something and say, I want this on the agenda, and then it would be on the agenda, rather than having to all get together at one more place.
So my name's Ada Costa, I also was homeless for 8 years, I am part of the homeless union. When we talk about campsites, we organize the campsites, so this way city officials don't complain about what's going on there. So we organize, clean up our campsites, we all communicate together. We get camp leaders that get them together to come to these little meetings that you're talking about. Because everybody can't come, but we don't know every day what we're gonna talk about at a meeting because several things happen at our campsites. Several things, so we can't say this is what we're gonna talk about because we don't never know what's gonna happen because everything's so unpredictable in our lives when we're living outside. You know, so we gotta be able to stand together as one and not just breaking everybody up and organizers and everything, that's great. But that hasn't covered the campsites. I mean, again, each campsite has camp leaders. I know everybody has somebody they go talk to at a campsite. So when you get those people together that come to, how you're talking about, make those decisions, cause everything how you're saying is great, but people don't have time for all that.
Okay.
Cause you're too busy having to be moved, worrying about where they're gonna go, how they're gonna keep warm. So, I mean, that sounds great, but gotta do really what's going on outside.
Excellent.
Being a woman of 68 and a half young, having married at 15, owned my own KFC at 26, raised 3 children with the same father, married a long time, and am now on a park bench. Homeless. What I care about as a homeless individual is shelter and safety, period. I can go to Food Not Bombs and get food. I get all the food I want from the government every month. I want shelter, and I want safe shelter. And Lorenzo River was not safe. It may have been to start with, but like any other, we called them communes in the 60s. And it was very loving and it was very peaceful. It wasn't this.
Exactly.
And this, to me, sounds like one dividing, trying to become a quad of confusion. Because all we want is safe shelter for the women, the children, the elderly, and especially our Vietnam vets.
I was just suggesting that they put a suggestion box at Food Not Bombs for the, like, weekly agenda. People could like, put it in and like.
There's a bulletin board.
Somebody
Bulletin
did, like, you know.
Since, I know Brett wasn't some people's favorite person, but since the footbridge is gone, there's not a lot of resources for people other than Coral Street. And I like what you said about the union growing. Well, my proposal is that we need to offer these people something to give. I mean, all of us need a ray of hope. And whether it's a phone, and like this person said here a minute ago, you need a shelter, need some place to get in out of the wind and out of the rain. You know, they used to have a rotating church deal in the winter. I don't know what's going on. I've been living in a trailer on a piece of property, but I was out here on the side of the road for almost 3 years. People need a ray of hope. Whether it's a phone, there's a company called Cricket that gives 2-year things.
Could you repeat
At
that?
the
I
end
just
of
don't
each
get it.
weekly meeting, there is an agenda setting session for 15 or 20 minutes. Anybody can stick around and contribute to creating the initial agenda for the next meeting. That agenda can be updated over the course of the week with phone calls and emails until somebody decides.
Can I get on the staff?
We're done.
I'm having a meeting tomorrow with this group called Huff that I've been meeting with interminably. We're at the Sub Rosa at 10:45 for everybody who loves meetings. That's one of the issues that I'm concerned about, though, is that organizing a whole formalistic structure of meetings, which is, I mean, I understand it's something you're trying to do to get things going. This is a winter, as Eagle was saying, there is a crisis, as you were saying, there is a shelter crisis and a storage crisis that can't wait until the next January meeting. Not that we can do anything immediately about it, but the real issue is, once we have this meeting, is anything coming out of it in the immediate future? In other words, is something going to be happening in the next few weeks? Are people committed enough or have time enough to do stuff? And often in the meetings that I work with Huff, Sub Rosa,
10 seconds.
that is not the case, because people have a lot of good intentions, but they're limited in their resources. So I'm wondering who's taking responsibility for what kinds of actions in the next week. And so I'll leave it at that. I know it's a little off topic.
Okay, so as far as the organizing ahead of time for the agenda, it looks like suggested end of the meeting, people call in, send emails, there's a bulletin board at Food Not Bombs, and there's lots of satellite camps of homeless union people in their own camps that are also organizing, that can can maybe send representatives or bring back to their camps what they're doing. And so I just propose all 4 of those things happen and that we vote.
I know we have a lot of decisions to make, and that was one of my things, is that we quickly move over to voting. A lot of people know I am really burnt out. I've been, traumatized by all this. I've had a lot of people die. Not being egotistical, but I feel like my time is really precious. I want it to be very positive and really, really focused. And so I can't attend meeting after meeting that's not going anywhere. I just want to make that, since we're all together, and that announcement. If they're really directly focused, I want to try to move, my opinion is that we move the homeless union over towards meeting people's basic needs. I heard some things that were mentioned. I feel like the homeless union can start mobilizing maybe a portable warming center, that we start taking on some of these needs for ourselves. I think we could have a mobile station that provides, clothing and some basic needs, that we start taking this, and that may lead over into your donations. We're obviously going to need some help with this, but that we start really solving some of these problems on our own and really start making a difference in people's lives, because that's what I'm all about. I cannot burn my energy and spin my wheels if it's not really helping someone's life.
I think there's 2 different things. Between now and the January 11th meeting, there is a possibility of doing lots of mutual aid. We also have on the 21st at 2 o'clock at the town clock, the memorial for those that passed away on the streets. But the bigger issue is organizing the union in such a way that it threatens the shit out of the people in power, so they give everybody shelter, because they're fucking scared of the union. And that's what the purpose of getting more organized is to just blow the minds of the government, so they say, okay, we're actually gonna let people live somehow, and we're gonna make it safe. So we're gonna force them to provide shelter and housing. And the only way we can do that is to be really organized.
But Diane's next. Okay.
I like a lot about what you said, everyone, but like I said, I think I have a fever, I'm sick, I'm cold, I'm not going nowhere tonight. I don't give a fuck if you're non-violent or not, I'm not leaving this place. Until you guys got hundreds of thousands of dollars donated or get someone put me in a room tonight. If that's the case, you know.
We can give you a tent.
Falling off. I'll tell you this. Housing matters, baby, right?
He's offering you a tent.
We can give you a tent tonight, that's all.
This isn't our building,
I don't know what to do because I'm trying to.
I know you can stay here because I've asked for that. You have to be in the back.
I don't expect your money. I'm trying to figure out things where I can get money.
Oh, that's a really good point.
I'm getting angry and I'm telling Christian people to keep God up their mouth because they ain't doing shit about God. Whacked out shit. I need help.
Well, the homeless union's not a Christian organization, just
I think
FYI.
God,
not
God all day, every day of my life.
I love God too.
So now,
Not all the places where I don't see no God.
Alright, wait.
are we to the point of
Okay,
voting?
we're gonna have a vote, but first, I wanna have a compassionate response here. And can we talk to you about what to do about your situation and you after the meeting? Is that okay? Okay, thank you. And thanks for sharing. Okay, Suzanne, you've got a few seconds.
But really honestly, the thing is, to get any of this all accomplished, we're gonna need people to volunteer. I mean, there's no pressuring you into the meetings, but if people wanna help, then if you could volunteer your time, have a list where we could say, hey, I'm willing to do this, then you'll be able to have the resources you need for people to do the work, to get those things done. Because otherwise you're not gonna have 3 people that are gonna do all of that for all of us. I mean, we're gonna all have to put in some time if we really wanna see that happen.
Bring people in, grow.
Yes.
All hands went up for Wednesday at 5, so we got that far.
We have Wednesday at 5, that's done?
Yeah,
And
Every
where are we
Wednesday
meeting?
here,
And we're here.
in this room.
There's some excitement here
Yes,
tonight. Why is
18.
it next week?
Okay,
Because it's a holiday.
because
Kevin, you silly
Is
millie.
this building closed?
It's Christmas.
we're gonna be
How many
meeting.
people want next week?
Not me.
There's some excitement here tonight.
Who wants next week? Strong show of hands.
Greg,
1, 2,
there you go,
3,
Greg.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Greg is
9,
running twice.
10, 11
The 14th.
for next week.
I could be here, I could be here.
I think that's worth the energy.
13.
Okay, so December 14th is the next
4th.
meeting.
14. Like, I think all of these things would work together. Like, I'm proposing all of them, not a choice.
You're
So,
proposing a package.
a package.
What are they?
That people get together at the end of the meeting and say what they want to see for the next meeting. People can call in or send an email. There'll be a bulletin board at Food Not Bombs and a suggestion box. And then there's also satellite, homeless union groups that are meeting in their own individual camps that can either send delegates or somehow we can get to them. So that, I guess through the bulletin board, I don't know how that would
Is
work.
this an official proposal to vote on?
That's my official proposal to vote on.
Does
And
anybody
plus
second?
anything else anyone thinks of ways that people can get input to.
I got something. I know you're talking about a suggestion box like open for everybody. That's cool and all, but like there are some hateful people out there, and like just a box, you know what I mean? So you have to lock it or something, or make some way that like not people can just stick their hand in there and take them out, because we all have a lot of good ideas. You know what I mean? But sometimes those ideas just get kicked out the window because,
Haters get in there and
because
pull them
haters
out.
get in there and pull that shit out. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
so lock.
I suggest we go with the
that has a
board and
lock
not
on it
the
that
box.
only you guys have the key to, or
Yeah.
it could be something.
Based on that feedback.
You know, just,
Would a board work instead of a box?
right, then it's getting, it could be a good
Same thing, same problem.
Well,
How many people
I just want to take the vote.
feel that this is a good way to organize to come up with information on what the agenda will be? Anybody for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody against it?
I don't know what you're proposing. You're proposing a package.
Laura's package.
Sorry, I was busy. That's fine with me. I think we need to have a time and a place when the people who are interested in organizing can meet after the meeting or
I
something.
got a question, which is
Those are the
who's going to be
volunteers.
collating all this stuff?
Okay, yeah, so the
Right.
thing is that all this information needs to get to a person. And then, so what could happen is everybody could get it to any of the three of us, and then it'll be given to me, and I'm gonna make it into a little thing like that.
So you'll
And
find
it
out.
needs to happen, like, and so all the input for that week's meeting that's gonna be published on the agenda, so people know in the world, like what we're talking about, needs to be like 24 hours before the meeting.
You have Monday, finalize Tuesday.
Time to do it.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, as long as it's like already,
and you
yeah.
could delegate, volunteers.
Yeah, and then if I get sick of it, then we'll move it on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Okay,
it'll be a shared
Cut off
responsibility.
end of day,
Yeah.
Monday, finalize Tuesday, distribute meeting on Wednesday.
yeah, something like that, just so it's reasonable, that's cool.
I just want to, personally, I want to make sure that homeless people are actually able to participate in the decision-making about what's going to be covered at the meeting.
Well, that's why we would have it at the
That's
end of every meeting,
sure.
so they can be included,
That's why
because
the
they're there for the
Okay,
meeting.
so how does that, or can we talk about that at the next meeting in January, how that will work? Like, how do we stop the meeting so that organizing for the next meeting can begin?
Then you only have
Well,
one meeting
we're
every 2
supposed
weeks.
to meet from
Help
5 to,
terminate.
So one agenda item is how to organize the agenda, formation of the agenda.
In the most democratic way
Yeah,
possible,
and
that
that-
gets out to the most.
Yeah, so people think
living
about that, and
outside.
that's gonna
Also,
be an
let's
agenda
not
item next week.
overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
I've been
unfair.
working with this other organization, and they create, they've been doing like small, short workshops on how to build political power. And there's a couple of like resources they were using from people who had successfully like overthrown governments and things like that. And it was like a very like simple, methodical idea of getting us to think about strategy. And I'm proposing that we do a brief, one of the agenda items next week be about that. And that's under the idea of political education.
good stuff.
So is anybody opposed to that?
What organization was it?
I'm on the injured list.
It would,
Can we start a practice?
it's many organizations.
Oh, I thought you said you were working with somebody.
3 minute
Oh, my
practice
organization, I'm working with
The
is
one
Brave
you-
and Free. So Brave and Free, it meets it does, it's not unhoused people, it does meet, but it can be unhoused people. And it does meet every other week at Aptos Grange, but I have to,
I want to put on the agenda, winter shelter emergency. What are we going to do anything about that?
take over an abandoned building or something by.
I know, the Brent at the footbridge has got, any day that it's below 38 degrees or over an inch of rain, his like the footbridge will be open and
Finally
for
here.
people to be able to like sleep
Was
there.
it last night, is it tonight?
He said right now it's looking like the weather's not gonna be like any of those till Saturday.
Yeah, let's collect agenda items, it's 6:45.
An agenda is something that we're gonna vote on, right? So it'd be a list of things we're gonna vote on for the next, for this meeting or the next meeting. But it's gotta be something where we organize it to where we can see what we're voting on and actually think
Right.
about what we're gonna vote on. Instead of just popping it up here right now and saying, well, what about this? And people are like, well, no, yeah. I mean, we could
So
actually
what are
think
you
about it.
suggesting? Are
I think
you,
that
do you have
we should
something?
take this on to the next meeting while we all think about it maybe for the week. And if you can't make it to the next meeting, email it in or call it.
For the agenda for next, the idea of political education, I would like to second what Keith said, because I love those ideas. And then also, I'm gonna be putting together these empowerment cards. There's a lot more that needs to go on them. And if I could just have a moment on the agenda when we meet to just kind of give you an update on that.
Okay, great, okay. Cool, so I think we are, done.
Congratulations, everybody, that was a good meeting.